We're live. What's going on, everybody?
Hey guys, how are you?
How's it going, Brandon?
Can I join this chat? How's this work? I'm new to this.
Are you trying to see the YouTube chat?
Oh, let's see.
So if you look on the right side, it says private chat and comments. If you click on comments, that'll feed all the YouTube comments live into it.
Yeah, you should be able to type in the bar down at the bottom.
Oh, connect to comment. Maybe not. I'll just pay attention to those. No worries.
If there's a
question or anything, then I'll click on it, and then if it's
right
really cool for you or for us, I can click on it, and then we can address it and stuff like that.
So. Okay.
Yeah, if there's anything you want him to bring up on screen, you see a comment you want to talk about, just let us know. Just tell us, and Christian can highlight it.
No worries. Figured we'd hang out for a little while.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, a little bit different tonight, guys. I'm over here, obviously, sitting with the captain instead of being at home on my own computer. My wife and my son, we're gonna go hang out and do some stuff earlier tonight. So it was easier for me to swing by the captain's house and come and hang out with the old man and go home.
Plus, we needed a carburetor for the Jeep.
Oh, I need a carburetor for the Jeep. Hey, that's my mail call.
Sorry, we'll save that. We'll save that one.
Oh, you guys do mail call?
Well, we sort of just wing it.
We just kind of wing it. We're pirates. We kind of wing it.
So I think we'll let Connor do the introduction because I think Connor knows you better than anyone else here on the chat right now.
Connor bugs me the most for parts and updates. So yeah,
this is true. Right on. So today, obviously, we got Brandon Kuntz here from Vanquish Products. If you want, Brandon, you can give us a your history, how you got into radio controlled, how you got into the RC crawling, and kind of like how you made your way through the industry.
You want the quick version?
No,
we got an hour here, dude. So we got plenty of time to talk. So you can take as long as you want, dude.
We have a bag of chicharrones here we got to get through tonight. So.
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah. Let's see. 2009 was my first official job in the industry. So 16 years now working as a product designer right out of college. But yeah, I mean, it started as a kid. Lego, my first RC10 when I was 10 years old. Just snowballed from there. When the TLT came out, I probably stepped away from RC a little bit when I got my driver's license. And then the TLT came out, the Tamiya kit. And my younger brother, who was like 12 or 13 at the time, picked one of those up. And as soon as I saw that thing, it sucked me right back in. Trevor. And then, from then on out, like RC Crawler, 2005, checking out all those TLT builds, Stampede transmission, and, got to know Bender. Found out I was going to school for mechanical engineering. And then he basically told the AX10 designer about me and what I was going to school for. I guess they started following all my builds on RC Crawler. And then they reached out and I took a trip down there, like right before getting married. Almost, I think I hadn't finished school yet. And I actually visited Proline too on the same trip. I was talking to Tim Clark at Proline.
Yeah.
And then I met Matt and Jeff at RCX one year and then went back for an interview with them. And then, 2009 moved down to Axial in SoCal. And then
that's awesome.
Rode that out for almost 8 years.
Wow.
And then once the wife and I were expecting, we decided to move back up to NorCal. And I mean, the whole time at Axial, like competing, the whole industry, you just make so many friends. And Steve, Jim, I'd been talking to Harley probably since 2006. Him and I would just email back and forth all day long at our jobs. Like we're both in school. We're both working part-time, just nonstop brainstorming crawler builds. And then he joined the Vanquish team about a year before me, maybe 8 months before me.
Okay.
So when I made the decision to move back up, it was kind of like, all right, let's go talk to those guys. So yeah, been at Vanquish almost 8 years now.
Dang, I didn't even realize it's been that long. Do you
Goes
you have,
by
like-
fast.
yeah, I've
And
already been.
that was the short version. But
Yeah, that was a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. Well, you also didn't go over any of the rigs you're responsible for in the RC crawling world. You got a brief history of that?
Yeah. I worked on some like smaller designs while I was in college. Nothing serious. Did some beadlock wheels for a small company. Did a dig transmission for somebody. Did some like, you remember the mini class when the Losi MRC came out?
Mm-hmm.
I did some chassis stuff for somebody in that. And then I kind of did a trial run early on for Axial. The very first dig unit for their 3-gear trans I was working on before I was officially had a job there.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
And then as soon as I moved down there, it was XR10 right from the start. And I just learned so much. It was like a crash course for 18 months to get that thing to market. I was in my early 20s. So it was just like, didn't sleep, didn't matter. It just nonstop. Like at the time I was running a Berg. So we already had like this platform that worked well. I had already tested, tuned, and tweaked on that Berg chassis and those axles so much. I knew exactly what I wanted to improve on. But yeah, first project, getting that thing into CAD, learning the ropes on how to get something from design to production with an overseas manufacturer. My first trip to Taiwan was with Axial. Matt and he took me. Matt's the one that designed the AX10, the Wraith, Scorpion, all the SCX10. So he taught me a lot. And then after the XR10, just kind of hit the ground running, just one project after another. And yeah, it was 8 years there, and it just absolutely flew by. It was fun.
And you're also responsible for the bomber, correct?
I did. So, yeah, Yeti first, which, wait, am I getting that backwards? Sorry. It's like I said, it's a blur. Yeti, bomber. I did the EXO after the XR10, which at the time, Axial was partially owned by the factory in Taiwan. So they also owned Team Durango and Arma at the time. So we were all under the same umbrella. And I had access to like a lot of the Team Durango race chassis stuff. And we kind of ported that into a fully independent 4-wheel drive scale off-road truck. And that's where the EXO came from. That was a fun project because coming from rock crawling for so long, but being an automotive nerd and understanding like all the suspension dynamics and design, that was a lot of fun too. And also a challenge. So,
Yeah,
that's cool.
But yeah, I worked on the Wraith with Matt. I helped him develop the AR60s. It was kind of the early concepts had just AX10 axles under it with huge wideners, ton of scrub steer. And basically we looked at what we had with the XR10 and having that kingpin angle and the C hubs. And like, why don't we make a new axle housing that just uses some of that stuff that we already made? Then the AR60 was born. Matt kind of took that concept and ran with it and did that single tube design axle housing with the dropout third. Or actually, no, that one had the diff cover on it. And then we did the Yeti trophy truck. I did the Yeti Junior. I did the original design for the SX24. And then that kind of got turned off for a while, and then Horizon fired it back up after I had left. So that was probably the coolest thing to see it come to market after I had already left Axial was that 24 scale.
Well, and the funny thing is, when you were back at Axial, from what I've been told, the SCX24, a lot of the guys that were working at Axial around your time were like, no, the SCX24 is going to be a failure. Nobody wants 24 scale and all that stuff. And it is just as much as we'd all hate to admit it, because it like 24 scale is just, it's just insane how many 24 scales there are out there now.
Yeah. Oh, my kids love them. They just absolutely destroy them, though. I mean, they're almost disposable at this point because I get tired of working on them. But yeah, there's a pile of parts there. One of these days I'll learn how to wrench. They could put them all back together. But yeah, when we were first designing that car and we were testing other small scale stuff on the market, it was all so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost undrivable. You know, they would just stall out on obstacles. It was hard to commit to something that we were going to get it right when everything else was so wrong. Yeah, and you know, it was a new market, so Axial got it right with the worm drive, and the electronics were okay from the start. They got better later.
Yeah.
But the look was right. The price point was right. That was super important.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with the 24 scales is that kills me the most is like I don't have little hands, so it's like trying to manipulate all that tiny little hardware. Like
Yeah.
I was building one for my son, like you said you were for yours, and like I had to use like tweezers to grab like a nut to like drive the nut. I can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. And then the
quick,
bomber
real quick here, Brandon. Someone said right here, he said about Apex Predators. Said, evening, fellow pirates. I have 4 Rock Pirates builds and love them. He goes, when are we waiting for the Vanquish Products IFS?
Yeah, he asked me every week. I'm on the live feed. I think that's the joke there. Is he's one more time. He has a running count. We'll go up to like 16. Yeah,
that's too good.
Yeah.
And then real quick, I got one more question. Someone was asking, will our bed fit the VRD stance? It won't fit the stock chassis, but it will fit the Kraken VRD.
Yeah, if you put the Rock Parts chassis on.
Yeah, but not the stock Vanquish chassis.
Gotcha. I'll have to check out that bed. I don't think I've had one yet.
Oh shoot, we just have to send you one.
Yeah. Eventually I'd love to do a half cab body. So you know, if we could work together and see if what you guys already have would work, that'd be rad. Not a leak, not happening. Yeah, I mean, I would like to do one. Yeah,
custom personal build is what he's talking about.
Yeah. Not work related. Yeah.
We'll figure out. We'll give you the color options. Just let us know what color you want. We'll send you one out.
Rad. Is it? And it's stamped aluminum. It's bent like what you guys.
Yeah, it's laser cut. It's all bent and
yeah.
The only reason it doesn't fit the stock.
I have seen that. Josh has had one in the shop. Okay, perfect. Yep.
Yeah, the only reason
the body,
the stock Vanquish chassis is the shock tower.
Yeah, the body is this that tried it.
Gotcha.
Which we have in stock, by the way, for people that are watching.
Finally,
they are in stock.
Congrats on doing a body.
Thank you.
That was a mission.
Yeah.
Body design is an art. Yeah.
Design and production.
Yeah.
Production that's what we've been having issues with, but we're there.
Yeah, it's made in USA, so that was a huge hurdle to get done.
Yeah. So I saw some bomber comments too. That was probably one of the cooler projects at Axial for me. Where was it?
I love the bomber, dude. I'll never get rid of mine, especially now that they're gone. I freaking love that thing, dude.
It's I have one of the KOH special ones.
Mm-hmm.
Todd Hodge actually sent me one because I was like, hey, that's cool. Pretty cool. You guys did that. One of the last ones. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Todd's a rad dude. I miss that guy. He was my boss he was the one that hired me. He was my boss for probably about 8 months, and he left, and we were all just like, no one knew it was coming, and we're like, what do we do?
Yep.
Yeah, I was at one of our local hobby shops the other day, and they had like 2 bombers in there, brand new. I'm not going to say where because I kind of want one. If I say where, all y'all are going to be jumping on them. So
yeah. Are they? Yeah. So they're out of stock. Like it's one of the, you can't even get the. Okay. Yeah, that's too bad. Well, I mean, it was a dated driveline, so it needed what it really needed was a full refresh on the drivetrain.
Yeah. And the issue is these days, the Ultra 4 years ago was very big in the RC world. And these days, it's so hard to get people to do Ultra 4 stuff anymore. And some people ask for it here and there. And we're like, dude, like, we'd love to do more Ultra 4 stuff. But, like, people just ain't buying them anymore. Yeah. Like, it's just, we can't make it for 100 people. Unfortunately, that's not how it works.
Yep. I think when we started the bomber, it was almost difficult to justify because it was so similar to the Wraith in a lot of ways. I mean, same axles. when we started talking to Randy Slauson, the marketing guys got me in touch with him. I just drove out to a shop and introduced myself. He knew I was coming and who I was with. But, you know, once I started talking to him and seeing the full-size cars and started like, okay, I know what we can do different here to make this thing separate it from what the Wraith is. And that was a fun project. You know, it was really cool to take something full size. And then I think like 6 months later, we're at KOH one night, we're sitting there and I brought my laptop and I showed Randy and I showed, I think it was a guy from BFG and a guy from King Shocks. And I showed him the CAD of the RC model. That's just, it was so cool to see like those guys, what they do. Like he's prepping to race KOH in a couple days. And they were excited to see CAD of that I was showing them of a RC car. You know,
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
well, and when it's like when you get fired up on, like, I love looking at CAD, but some projects you do them in CAD and you're like, yeah, this looks pretty cool, I like this. And then there's some projects you're looking at in CAD and you're like, dude, I need a physical version of this right now. Like I'm pumped on this, and it's pretty cool to have those projects that are like that.
Yep. The H10 Optic was that way for me. I hadn't been that pumped on something in a long time. Seeing like having that front axle come together in CAD and the way that the front bumper and the grill hid the steering servo and you just didn't see it at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's some other buggies on the market where servo and axle, it's just this giant block right on top of the axle housing. It takes away so much from the appearance. So like finally getting to the point where I was able to design a buggy and hide all that stuff and add more realism, that I stared at that thing in CAD for way too long. Like just fine tuning every little thing on that car. Probably spent way too much time on the battery door trying to do something different, do something where it won't fly out, easy access.
I like that. I like that battery door. That was a good idea.
Had to make it left and right. Yeah, and just ended up with a freaking body clip again, you know, after all the last designs, like body clip and pin. It's foolproof. Everybody can get a body clip. Nothing's going to break. Just,
yeah.
That and then doing a hard body on it was key.
Yeah.
So
Levi's got a question. He said, I've got a question. The new titanium hardware for the F10 axles, just ordered them, but are they noticeably easier to strip out than the stainless steel?
Use good tips. They our Vanquish tips, MIP tips. I think ProTech has decent tools. We tested a bunch of different brands of tool tips with the hardware. Some of them fit really tight, but nothing was loose to where it would strip them.
I will say with the Vanquish tips, as far as the tools go, like those things, like when you're putting your wheels together, it's tight.
Yeah,
they're tight.
Real tight.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I gotta like push my driver down into the hardware to get it to seat all the way in. But
so if you're using like one of those DeWalt drivers or something like that with the titanium hardware, you could strip it easier than steel. So
not too many ugly ducks.
No ugly duck. No, even like just initially, like if you're not perfectly square to the tip and it's just barely grabbing, it is a softer material. Yeah. But better than, it's stronger than aluminum hardware. We looked at that for a long time too. And then, I run aluminum hardware on my VRD just because I'm shaving grams everywhere.
I got aluminum hardware on my MOA and my Sporty, and once they get some rock rash on them, man.
Oh, they're done.
It is scary. You got to push so hard with your best driver just to try not to strip them. It's so horrifying.
Yeah, so I still run steel on the third member because of that. Because otherwise you can't. Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
But there's still a battery in there. Crap.
People are liking the H10 talk. We could probably talk about it a little more. That's a pretty new platform. It would be cool to talk about it a little bit more. From what I understand, you spent a long time, like years, on that project, right? Not consistently, but you started it like years ago, correct?
Yeah. Probably in 2020, we kind of all, like, I had the approval to do a buggy, whatever I wanted. And it just kept morphing. The VFD kind of like evolved, twin, all that stuff. And it got put on the back burner for a little bit when we decided to jump into the RTR scene. And then COVID, and we all wear a lot of hats at Vanquish. We're a small company, so my attention kind of got pulled in a bunch of different directions and production, and then I jumped back on it as much as I could. But I never wanted to release any part of that car until it was perfect. So yeah, like getting it right, getting the body panels right, getting the cage design right, having the foresight to make sure you could fit a VFD twin in there. You could fit front winch, rear winch, CMS up front, overdrive servo, dig servo. I actually, at one point, we were almost done with it. And I extended the back of the cage and completely reworked the whole back end of the car, because we made the fuel cell with the bottom removable, so you could put 4-wheel steer and fit a servo up inside the fuel cell.
That's good. Yeah.
And it was like, I didn't want to stretch it. It took away from the original look that I had, but 4-wheel steer is huge. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Especially in the buggy world these days.
Yeah. So I think one of the first prototypes we printed and I had built had something like 7 or 8 channels in it. Once it had every single thing installed on it. It was kind of ridiculous, but it was cool. It all fit. It was all meant to be. Getting through all of that up front is a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then hard body was new for us. It's not just a Lexan panel, and the grill took some work. The hood took a lot of work. The interior was, designing a driver figure. I'm super technical, so like making a glove look correct with fingers, it's like a whole new thing. Yeah.
Well, then it's like people are so picky too. Like when the Helamon released, I remember people were posting about the helmets that the driver and the passenger were wearing. Like they're wearing bicycle helmets, and we're like, they're not. Those are actual Axial rock crawling helmets. But
Yeah,
in the
but they
RC,
don't. Yeah,
yeah, in the full size buggy world, 90% of people wear BMX helmets, or they just don't wear helmets. So they all look like bicycle helmets.
It was one of the early Ultra 5Ks at Axial Fest, and Randall Davis and Cody from LaserNut teamed up as partners on the race, and they both had their helmets on, running the whole course, running a whole 5K with those helmets on that they used to compete in buggies, because they had their radio equipment. So they were talking the whole time they were sprinting behind RC cars.
Oh,
it was really funny.
That's awesome.
I was like, who's these guys? Yeah.
That's a fun way to nerd out right there.
Yeah. Yep.
And now both of those guys are too old to run.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Randall could probably outrun me though, no matter what.
Yeah, he's still pretty. He's pretty fit still.
That's real quick. Levi said, "This is for the question for the captain. When the stands are coming back?"
I'll make it a priority because everybody keeps asking about that. So give me about 3 weeks.
You heard, man.
Yeah, because I gotta order more material. I don't know how long it'll take to get here.
And then Apex said the foresight on the H10 Optic is for customization is top notch. Brandon,
man, that was something. As soon as all those options started hitting the market, we wanted that so badly. To have, like, the last thing I wanted was screws on all the panels on the outside. I wanted it to look clean, but without that, people wouldn't have been 3D printing body panels from the start. And that being able to customize something that with a fixed cage design is limiting, but the aftermarket has gone just absolutely crazy on it. I love it.
I like how you guys will do small batch stuff. Like some people are like, oh, like, but what about carbon fiber panels? And like within a month or two, you guys might have already been working on it, but you guys did like a small batch run of those carbon panels, and they just look so good. It's cool to see you guys do the smaller stuff like that still.
Yeah, so that was another. I had those in the works. We got pricing on it, and it was just outrageously expensive because it's actual hand laid molded carbon, like just like you would do in the automotive industry on a hood or a spoiler or something like that.
Right.
And I'm like, how do we make this happen? And so with the H10 Optic kit, and we did all those different graphics and liveries. That gray Vanquish one, the decals were always intended to work on the gray panels or the carbon panels.
Gotcha.
And then we just like snuck a small percentage of those carbon panels into that kit every time. So
That's cool.
That percentage doesn't go up or down. So if you order an H10 Optic kit today, you have the same chances when we released it. And I'm going to keep doing that because it's so cool to like have that like treasure, like that hunt aspect of finding the carbon panels. Yeah.
They're just like, you don't even want to use them though, because like you're like, they're like, I love using my stuff. I don't believe in like shelving everything.
Yeah.
So it's but those carbon panels are kind of so rare. Just like, don't even want to use them, dude.
Yep. I have one set. Like
Yeah,
my first. Of course, everybody's been touching it in the office. Yeah, that hood. When I got that. Yeah.
Oh, click on
That's
that.
sick.
Let me hold on a second.
Let us blow it up.
Let me blow that up.
That carbon is so rad.
Yeah, it looks. I mean,
Very
it's
nice.
automotive grade. Like,
Well done.
I think that should be an option on the H10 Origin.
so the roof panel is carbon in the Origin.
Yeah.
That was another. Yep.
But that hood, the carbon hood on that, just looks insane. That's so rad.
It would be wild to do that on the Origin with the way Jim did the front fenders that roll over and the hood. It would be a three-piece front end instead of the. Oh man, then you need the sides and the battery. Yeah. I'm just thinking about the tooling and how much it took to get the optic panels right.
Then you need the rest of the car.
So do you guys lay those panels up in house then?
Nope. So, we manufacture, before I started at Vanquish, 99% of everything Vanquish sold was made in Sacramento at the shop.
Yeah.
They kind of brought me on to fill, they were never going to do plastics in house, rubber tires. They investigated gear cutting for a long time, but it's just so much more efficient and cheaper overseas because you have one vendor that's just dedicated to gears.
Right.
So, versus us trying to dedicate one machine and one person. So when I came on, I was able to help with a lot of that stuff. And our only vendor that does our kits, we don't like bounce around too much. His son is a huge like car fan. Like he tunes his Volkswagen. Like when I go over there and I see his car, it's cool to see like that same mindset of guys that are super into automotive and then also design RC for a living. And so he had contacts with a carbon fiber vendor and it just snowballed from there.
Perfect. Mm.
He asked me, he's like, do you want to do this in RC? I'm like, yeah, for sure. It's like, let's try it. So, yeah.
Logan says the H10 has been super popular. It's awesome to see more people loving the buggies. When people say it isn't a rock crawler, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think the rock crawler segment has gotten away from scale. Like there's been more of a separation over the last 5 years than ever. 10, 15 years ago, that H10's a rock crawler, right?
Mm.
But now a rock crawler is something with crazy breakover, flat rail chassis, super lightweight body, minimal, and then a scale trail truck is something that looks more realistic. And yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. That's what it is. If I'm going to go hike, somewhere awesome on a trail with a ton of terrain, I'm grabbing the Optic, not a crawler, not my VRD. It's just a lot more fun. Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's probably because it's low slung, bigger skid plate on it. You're going to get hung up more than some of those crazy breakovers. I know Logan has battled with that in his comments on his channel, and he's tried to explain it a lot. The Capra, I guess, with the smaller skid plate and the smaller cage, you could say is more of a crawler, and portal axles, right? But yeah, I kind of put those in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'm definitely have to snag some doors off the Vanquish website for Logan. We went to we went to the Grand Canyon a couple weeks ago, and he brought his crawlers, but I'm an idiot and didn't bring mine. So I drove his Optic, and we were just found some gnarly lines, and I just destroyed his Battleborn wheels door panel. I was over at his house today, and like it's just blasted, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's so bad.
Yeah.
Colorado Adventure Club said, so does Mini Brandon like toy trucks as much as his father?
He just took my phone to go watch YouTube, but yeah, I mean, he's following in my footsteps. He's so, there's nothing more exciting than when we go to a Cars and Coffee and he gets to run around and see all the cars, and it's rad to just hear him rattle off all the names of stuff that I know when I was 7 years old I didn't know the difference.
Yep.
Him and so I have twins that are 5 years old. He's almost 8. They grab VRDs and VS410s all the time and just have a rock pile right outside of the shop, and they're constantly on it. It's fun to watch. Then they come back. Yeah, I broke this. What's wrong with it?
Yeah. My little guy, he's 3. He has a Capra on straight axles with Logan's straight axle kit on it. He's got an 18 scale Capra and a 24 scale. So he breaks it and he's like,
"Yep,
here."
Yeah, when he was like 3 or 4, I handed him my what was it? I think it was one of the early Phoenix prototypes where I was starting to do plastic drive shafts for the VS410. I had yet to break one. Just never, like, I was like, cool, we can move to plastic, and then the incision steel shafts will be the option. And he full speed right into a ranch gate, right into the windshield, popped a rear drive shaft. I was like, all right. They do break. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because like there's stuff you test and nothing breaks, and you're like, all right, cool. And then you give your remote to like a buddy or something, and you're like, hey, try this out. And they just blow up stuff, and you're like, dude, what the heck? It's funny, just everyone's driving style. It's like you can't have 1 or 2 the same people testing stuff. You got to have like at least multiple people sit there and try with their different driving styles, because everyone's going to torture it in different ways.
Right. Yep. And then there's always manufacturing too. You hit issues sometimes that you can't control and you just didn't expect. And I'm sure, like you guys at Horizon, it's how you handle those customers. That's all you can do about it.
So we have a customer here. Speaking of production, he wants to know, is there any updates on Capra axle production?
So the machine that made those axles, we had a pretty serious spindle controller issue with. And we were going to move those axles to another machine, but we had a massive stash of housings already. So, and they would trickle out slowly. And this is like 5-6 years ago now. And then I don't know what happened, but I think at some point the Capra got an update and it moved factories. And it was right when we were looking at redesigning it. So we kind of held off a little bit because we didn't know, when you move tooling or you make new tooling for an existing product, not everything is, we hold our aluminum axles to such a tight tolerance. Mm-hmm. If the pivot balls at the new vendor are a couple thou off, they're not going to fit our axle, and we're scrapping. So we waited and waited. I don't know if anything actually changed on the plastic axle housings. But we looked at the sales rate of when we had those axles in stock versus the amount of effort it would take to move them to a new machine. And it wasn't an easy decision, but currently there's no plans to fire those back up. I think Logan has asked me quite a few times, not another leak, but the internal discussion would be, well, why don't we make something new? Like, if we're going to go take an axle that's already designed and go through all the effort to make it again on another machine, because we'll never buy another brand of machine that had broken down. So it is a new project to move it to our existing machines. Like, why wouldn't we just design something new? Mm-hmm. And then we go down the path of the Origin project, and we're way too busy to ever get to it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
So the capper axles that I have brand new in the bag at home, just keep those in the bag and sell them in like 30 years. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yeah. Yep. Just like those XR10 axle caps and all that old stuff.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody said H10 portal.
H10
Yeah.
portal would be rad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No leak, no plan.
Blink
My-
twice,
I mean,
Brendan.
The list
we
of
hope-
projects, that I have, like the wish list is insane.
Yeah.
I don't know
Where
if you
is
guys watched live feed a few weeks ago. We hired a new designer who's helping me out now.
Mhm.
So
Oh, good.
he's getting up to speed, which has been awesome. Eventually I'll get back to my normal, be able to focus on projects, but man, he's tackling so many small projects that I haven't been able to get to. There's gonna be a lot of cool stuff coming. So
Cool.
and then once he's up to speed and we can get him on chassis or axles and stuff like that, it's gonna be really cool.
Oh, that's exciting.
So real quick, back to the Capra axle topic. I know since you guys aren't making them anymore, is there still possibilities for like replacement axle shafts and sub
Yes.
shafts?
Yep.
Okay.
So
I
we
know
make
there's
those.
a separate vendor for all that. But
No, we make those shafts in house.
oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, we have 2 Swiss screw machines that do all of our VDI shafts. They do all of our stainless links. They do our SLW hubs. They make a ton of parts. So if you ever see those shafts out of stock for a period of time, it's just because we're currently not cutting chromoly and it's not set up with that tooling. We have to finish what it's making. And we usually run those machines to make like a 6-month inventory for whatever it's running. And then we'll switch over to shafts and we'll make all the shafts again.
Okay.
That's good.
If we had 12 Swiss screw machines, we would have one dedicated to shafts. But yeah, we're just not there.
Okay.
It is almost impossible to break those shafts, but I know Christian's done it.
I've done it.
And I'm
Oh, yeah.
scared to do it. I've been scared to do it because I have 2 sets, or I have 4 of those steer axles now, and I'm just like so scared in the future to break one of those shafts and be like, well, hopefully I can find some used ones somewhere, which is unlikely. So that's cool that we can still get them.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're finding a used one, you're probably buying the housing with it too.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can pretty much break any of those shafts on demand. It is a small size, especially when you're competing. But you learn how to drive around it. So I understand customers can snap that stuff.
Well, I was just being stupid because I had a Hobby Wing 2300 kV.
Yeah.
In it, and I blew up the portal gears, and I was like, I'm just gonna finish the portal gears, and I just like yanked the throttle. Well, instead of it finishing the portal gears, it twisted my axle shaft, and I was like, okay, well, I'm never doing that again. So
yeah, I think the last time I broke one, I was going for a bonus gate, and the exit of the bonus gate was basically a 4-foot drop because you just couldn't drive slowly down it. I landed right out in the front and just tried to steer out of it, and the car twisted, snapped, gained traction. I broke the tang in the spool. I broke the VDI, and I broke a portal gear all on one side at one shot.
Crap.
And then I had to try to finish the course, 3-wheel drive. But yeah, you can do it. You just have to drive.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just broke.
We have customers. That's how they normally drive. Like that's just normal.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Well,
Logan said those shafts are in stock now. See?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna snag some.
Okay.
no one go buy them while we're on the live stream. That's rude.
I'm gonna go buy them all right now. So I'll have one.
Connor's over there buying them all up.
Normally I have 2 screens on my home, but with the captain, I'm stuck to 1. So y'all can wait. All right.
I'm cheating on my second screen.
Oh shoot.
Just a quick question. So, like in Southern California right now, through Golden State comps, comping's gotten real popular. We sort of follow the rules that the North versus South Utah boys follow, and it's really grown very, very fast, very big. What's going on up in your guys' neck of the woods? So we don't really hear a lot about what's going on in Northern California. I mean, what's in the rock crawling field for comping or even trail stuff? What what's sort of the vibe up there? What's popular? What's catching on?
Yeah, so we do. Elio is up here. He runs Scale Challenge West. Just last weekend, he had one up at Donner, and they basically set up. And the last one I went to had to be all of 3 or 4 miles, a course, start to finish,
Wow.
that looped out and back.
Oh, okay.
Some people were trying to get 2 laps in a day, and some people were just trying to finish. So that, like, as far as scale events go, that's probably the most amazing scale event, like a day with your truck on the trail that you could do. He does probably once a month. He does those. He does them in the winter. He'll do snow runs and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So that's the scale side. That for me reminds me of the old Axial Fest days where you went to course A and you tried to knock out A, B, C, D with your scale truck, in an afternoon. Same thing. It's just his courses are rad. And he has like Dean Chino 63 helps him out, and they just know how to build some cool stuff, courses and trucks, and cater to that. As far as competing goes, Dean also does the he hosts local comps. That's probably the one I like to go to the most. It's like a class 2 with super minimal rules. So tire size, you have to have front and rear bumpers. You have to have a body certain height, up to the bumpers, up to the sliders. And it's no dig. So it's a very basic, it's something that anybody you could show up with, like you can show up with an SCX Pro, you can show up with an Element, you can show up with a VRD, and just right out of the box. And no matter what everyone's running, like, you can still be competitive because the rules, like, you have to have bumpers and sliders. So
yeah.
And I don't know what he's doing for the crazy breakover. There's some pretty wild rigs, but when you have to throw a full body on it and still have your bumpers there, it definitely eliminates some of the craziness.
Right.
Keeps a little more scale class 2. That has been a blast. There's a local group of guys.
A sensitive topic with the old.
No. I asked the question, because I'm genuinely interested in what's going on in Northern California with all this. But most people don't know this, but I have more family in Northern California than I do in Southern California. I lived in Paradise, actually, above Chico there for about 3 years. And so I still really enjoy Northern California. Like I said, I got lots of family up there. And when I go visit them, it'd be sort of cool to know who's doing what, so I can, maybe bring a truck and come up and run with some of the guys sometime.
So Dean was one of the guys I met at my very first comp I ever went to in NorCal. Dean and Badger from RC Crawler. And so, Dean's still running. He was running this series up here. And the whole goal was just to let it be a little more beginner friendly. All of his courses are set up so it progressively gets harder. So even if it's your first day, you're going to make it through the first 5 or 6 gates. You're not just going to be completely shut down on gate 1. And then the bonus gates are pro level, and to finish the course on time, you have to kind of understand what you're doing and not hit gates and have a pretty well set up rig. But for getting people to come back and show up to the next event, that's the hardest part. Yeah. So, and he basically created that rule set and created the group. And from day one, like every single event, it's like beginner friendly. Of course, we show up. We're super competitive. We're talking shit. We're all like, we can't help it because that's how we've been. But we all judge. We help teach the new people how to judge, because there's no better way to understand the rules and understand like how important it is to take a reverse instead of just driving over the gate. When you're judging, it's like, take that reverse, and you keep telling people over and over, but until they see everybody do that and realize, like, when they're adding up scores, what that actually does to you. So we train people how to judge. We give them the clipboard timer. And then it's pretty amazing. Once they judge 5 or 10 people on a course, they finally go to drive and they just clean it. Yeah. And that confidence boost and teaching them how to do that is huge. We'll get, like, I can't take credit for any of what Dean's doing. I, work full time and then family, and I just show up on the weekend and I'll judge half the day and then I'll quickly go run the courses. But he'll get 50, 60 people out sometimes. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, that's super rad. Yeah,
And
then-
that's been a lot of fun. It sparked my drive to compete again and go whoop on everybody.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Golden State comps too, like how it was based off of, like the Utah rules. It's super like family friendly, kind of like beginner
Yeah.
friendly. That's the better word I'm looking for. But yeah, more people show up, and then we had one gentleman at the last comp that was kind of having a hard time as he was driving. So a couple of us kind of guided him through the course, like showing him like, hey, like dude, like because I think he had a like completely stock stance, maybe with some different shocks or whatever, tires and wheels, but we took him through the course and he was stoked. He was more than happy. So it's cool to just like because someone that comes up that's super like that's a beginner as far as a comp goes, and they drive through, and then like you have some guys like, hey, no, like drill this way. Because like when you're first time at a comp, you don't think, okay, I'm gonna take the long way around and like get a different approach with this gate and stuff like that. So yeah, it's cool to have people come in,
Right.
and do that kind of stuff. So
Toby is asking if we can see some of your collection, Brandon.
Sure. I grabbed a couple things. I showed you the carbon truck.
Hey, show us that one that's underneath that dark blanket in the corner.
Yeah, right. This one's pretty cool. This is a
You blow a screen up,
gimbal
Chris?
chassis.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
So
What
I
is
think Nationals 2007, 2008. We were all running TLT axles still. The Utah guys were making these little gimbal chassis. Probably still had a Stampede transmission in them. And yeah, where were we? I don't know. I think it may have been at BFE in Utah.
Oh,
In Moab for Nationals. And yeah, they were whooping on everybody. I think they took like first, second, and fifth with these chassis. This was the 5th place chassis that I had bought from just Zach out of Utah. So I've had this thing. This is kind of what my love for these buggies. I bought this from him in 2000. So it must have been 2007 in Moab. I bought this from him in 2008. And then I threw F10s under it and I never actually finished it. But it was like a 12-inch wheelbase, 2.2 mashers on it when Proline was making mashers. That one was pretty rad.
Those bends behind those front shocks are rad on that truck.
Oh yeah,
The S bends.
yeah.
that's cool.
I mean, it basically had the geometry of what everybody was running on the the twin vertical plate chassis.
Yeah, I get those. Crazy.
And then a UC Fab that I started building.
Hell yeah.
Backwards VFD in it. Portal X, F10 portals front and rear. This one was running. I tested the 2.2 XMTs, the licensed Yokohama tires on this truck. Batteries mounted to the front axle. It's not super scale, no interior. I just kind of built it like a 4-wheel steer comp truck. But I definitely need to drive this thing some more.
Yeah, UC Fab makes some killer stuff.
Yeah. And then what else is there?
I think I'm gonna say I had to build my UC Fab since the beginning of this Pirate Talk thing, but
I don't know why you're waiting so long.
Had too many rock parts to build.
Probably my favorite SCX10.
That thing's rad.
Yeah, that's cool.
It started as an SCX1, and I don't know if it was in this form as an SCX2 when it ended up on the Axial blog back when they were like showcasing builds and stuff.
Mhm.
The marketing guys took some killer photos in the booth. I painted this when I was living in a condo, probably my first or second year at Axial, and I just grabbed some brush and just airbrushed like camo on it, and the body's still kicking. But yeah, like it was pretty wild to see later all these LCG rigs are running Unimog bodies super far forward, and this was my skill build. Like, oh yeah, look at that. But this thing has been through countless Axial Fest courses. And I don't know why it was so fun to run the crappiest, smallest tires.
It looks good.
It does. It looks scale.
Yeah, right. It looks the part, and it really gave me an
Yeah.
appreciation, like more for, small tire, like, but yet still like really focusing on weight bias. I was running a 5,000 pack up front because I was just running.
Oh crap!
I was running all the courses, and I didn't want to go back. It was just nonstop. So this is the very first set of SCX2 axles that were like the original prototype set.
Dang,
So, and they're still under there.
that's cool.
That's one of probably my favorite scale truck.
That thing's sick.
Then later, this was kind of like the concept for the UMG when that came out. That came out after I left, but when I was still at Axial, I had helped with the wheels and tires on that truck. And then the other designer I was sharing an office with, Jamie, was working on the body concepts for the UMG back then.
Nice.
Yeah.
What year are those Axial Fest stickers on that thing?
Are there some on here? There's one that just says tech. So that was the first year they started teching.
Oh wow.
And then there's one that says 2015.
Dang.
So that's probably 14, maybe.
That's
15,
crazy.
10 years ago now. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's funny.
I made some changes.
It looks sick.
Yeah. It just got small updates, but nothing crazy.
It's funny teching people at Axial Fest because some people are like, "Oh, can you please take the sticker off from last year?" And some people are like, "Don't you dare take that sticker off last year and cover the date."
Yeah, and then getting into all the Vanquish stuff, the original Origin.
Yep.
Let's see. This one did get updated axles, but I believe this is my very first Origin. It got I swapped the body onto this for some reason from the Ultra box. So we should talk about, that very first kit that we did.
Run it.
Vanquish. Oh no, this one got updated. Hindsight, I probably shouldn't have taken all the aluminum parts off this thing. But as we progressed with the plastic bumpers, sliders, chassis braces, I'm test fitting them, so it got swapped out. But that was the first 3 gear that we put into the Origin Limited, the 9001. We based it off the 3 gear because we were already making all the parts for it. Skid plate, same pattern. But when we did these VS410 frame rails, it was all optimized to have that huge rise in the chassis rail and get all of that suspension travel.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just left and right. You're actually able to get your full up and down travel.
Right.
Same on the back. You can run a really low slung rig and have all that up travel still. When we decided to do the Origin, that offset front axle wasn't even in the original plan because we were running a 3 gear trans. So Jim basically we were looking at, what we were going to do for axles. We had the SCX2 Rock Jocks at the time, and it was going to be that. And then he came up with this new axle design and we offset it. And then from there, that led to the VFD and the Pro and the Ultra, having that offset output up front and finding that place to put the motor up front and down, all the way down on the skid plate. The Origin has been, the VS410 itself has been an evolution of like perfecting the scale chassis, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Everything we've done has always been as thoughtful and thought out we could possibly be. So it's been a lot of fun. The Phoenix then with the that VFD twin transmission. Let me see if I have some of those prototypes.
Rad Raff wants to know if you're going to Proline this year.
Maybe. I have so my son's birthday and my wife's birthday both in September, and I have the NERSA dealer show, I believe is late September or early October this year. I got to try to juggle all that stuff. Proline, that event is probably one of my favorites. Now that Axial Fest has changed so much, Proline is a rad event. I went.
Awesome.
It's been a while, probably 5 years since I've been.
Oh crap! Oh, wow. Yeah, you should probably head back this year.
Twins, dude. It's a lot of work. 3 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
hello,
I don't think I have a
in-laws.
twin. Yeah. So after the Pro and the Ultra came out, we were looking at the VFD and we wanted to do like a molded dig housing as like, update the next VS410. That's when I was doing the Phoenix body design, and we were looking at a new layout for the chassis, molded inner fenders up front, cage on the back. And COVID hit. And I think at one point I just like, was it COVID or I think maybe the twins were just born. And I just showed up one day after like not being working from home for almost a month. And I showed Jim and Josh, I'm like, look, I figured it out. And we had the VFD twin with the dual arms shifting and all that stuff. That was a huge accomplishment too. Like, I think the Phoenix was the biggest step we took on the VS410, plastic axles and getting through all that stuff.
Yeah. I think the Phoenix was great just because at first, like with the VS410s out and everything, like that's still one of my favorite kits to build. That was a super fun kit, but they were so expensive, obviously, because
the Pro and Ultra originally.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
so people were like, for a lot of people, it seemed unobtainable because it was an
Oh, it's
expensive
good.
kit. So it was kind of cool when the Phoenix came out because now people are like finally like, oh, I can afford one now, and I think that really boosted the VS410 lineup.
I think Vanquish, we took the right steps going from the original Origin, and it was, frame rails and everything else was machined. Like bumpers, sliders, axles, transmission housing, everything was made in the US. And then of course the body, wheels, and tires were made up in Taiwan to complete the kit. And then from there we went to the Pro and Ultra. Okay, now the transmission was made overseas with the plastic housing, the new skid plate, and all that stuff. And at that point, it was still aluminum axles, and then we did the portal version, the Ultra. And the Phoenix was the natural step. Like, all right, plastic axles, more updates, more transmission upgrades, more features. So yeah, going from like the Pro and Ultra to a lower price kit with more features was like the natural progression for that. And then I started designing the H10, and we kind of put that on hold for a bit and turned the Phoenix into an RTR, which was rad.
Yeah. Heck yeah. That's awesome, man. I'm glad we got to kind of go over a bunch of all the stuff, all the projects and stuff you've worked on, because you've been in the industry so long, but I still feel like there's so many people in the industry that still don't even know who you are and what you're responsible for. So it's kind of cool to shine the light on that for some of the people out there.
Logan said, I wonder how many people don't know that Brandon made the 10-2. So many 10-2s out there.
Matt did the 10-2. But I will take credit for the hypoid gear set idea. I was like, hey, we really should figure this out because we could shrink this ring gear, get more clearance, better drive shaft angles. And I also helped with a lot of the geometry on the SCX-10-2 with the panhard and all that stuff. Matt was pretty cool. He quickly had a lot of faith and trust in me, maybe too much at times. But, he let me make mistakes and learn from it, which, I got to give credit to Axial and Matt for that. And you guys are making me feel old saying I've been doing this for so long. It's going by fast, but yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you're catching up with me.
Oh, jeez. Kids are keeping me young.
Yeah. Careful, you can't even see it. You can't even see his beard is washed out from the light to his left. So.
Oh yeah.
The 10-2 is awesome, man. That's still my favorite crawler of all time. I don't know if there'll ever be another crawler that I think will, in my opinion, top the field.
Yeah, you can't top what that did for the market.
Yeah.
The SCX-10 brought scale, into reality. And then,
right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's cool. Right on. Well, normally we do a giveaway on this, and we normally announce what we're giving away at the beginning, but I think we got sidetracked and just got excited and hopped into cool.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're good, dude. Are you gonna tell them?
Are you gonna tell them what it is?
Oh, shoot, yeah. Tonight's giveaway is an Interceptor chassis in Ghost Gray.
Right.
Nice.
Which will fit on Vanquish trucks.
It actually fits the
Four nice.
VS410.
VS410.
Yeah.
Four nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got 36 comments. We got 68 people. So I'm gonna give y'all a couple minutes to throw a comment in. You can just say Brandon looks kind of cute or whatever you want.
So that's for a VS410, right?
Yeah.
Are you gonna? Yeah.
It'll fit. It'll fit
I'm-
the vehicle down. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw in one of the new Phoenix Portal Builders kits to go with that.
Oh, can I get it on that
So
one?
that-
I know.
Yeah. Let me throw in a comment real quick.
Yeah,
you guys will just have to message me whoever wins on that. That
Yeah, Harley-
that new
Harley
Phoenix
did
Portal
a
Builders
video
kit.
on that build.
Yeah, that is by far my favorite. Like that builder's kit has everything in it. If you wanted to start a scale build, having the transmission with all the gears, all the machine stuff, the motor plate, everything. So machine ring and pinion, machine portal gears, the better shocks. Yeah, it's dialed.
Yeah, we had a comment earlier that said the last live that you were in, you included a discount code for Vanquish, and are you going to do that again this time? But I think this is almost equivalent. Not everyone's going to win, only one person. But you know what?
Oh, I did create a discount code today.
Oh, but wait, there's more.
Yeah, and Josh asked me like on the last 10 minutes of the Vanquish live feed, right as I was walking out the door to go home. So I ran over to the office. It's a Father's Day 2025. And so that'll give you 10% off on any Optic RTR combo, whether you wanted it with the Kilo wheels that are limited to the RTRs or without. 10% off on that VS410 Portal Builders kit that I'm going to give away to you guys too. And then 10% off on aluminum H10 knuckles and aluminum F10 Portal knuckles.
Wow.
So you could add them all, get 10% off, or whatever items you add.
Dang.
Thank you, Vanquish. You guys are awesome.
If
I
I
really appreciate
if I
it.
had a hat on right now, I'd tip it to Vanquish. But thank you.
Appreciate it.
That brings that Optic RTR with the wheels and hubs included is already like a $40 or $50 discount to get a set of wheels with an RTR, and now take another $55 off that with the 10%.
Wow.
Yep, it's a killer deal. That goes until next Tuesday, which will be the 17th.
All right,
there you
guys.
go. Get it, guys.
Yeah, well, thanks for throwing that in for us, Brandon. Thanks for donating that kit, dude. That's awesome. You didn't have to do that.
Oh,
Appreciate
thanks
that.
for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I'm gonna wait one more minute. It's 8:03, so 8:04. I had 55 comments right now. We're at 70 people streaming. So if y'all haven't put a comment into the chat, just put a Brandon is, I don't know, whatever you think.
Everybody's asking what's on the bench.
Yeah, that's why our camera stays high. We can't show what's on the bench.
Yeah.
I got all my classified stuff
That's
sitting
why,
on the floor where you guys can't see.
that's why Connor's sucking on his camera because
there we
he
go.
can't show.
car. And then I got
Yeah.
the old, so this body was painted up when we were
that's
hiding the VRD prototype. I basically took a Phoenix body, I hacked up the back, narrowed the
That's
cage,
cool.
and hacked up the rear fenders. So that was mounted on one of the original VRD prototypes that we posted pictures of when we released the VXT2 tire. That chassis was underneath it.
That's a cool body.
Yep, that one's hanging in the shop because it was super cool. And then the drift car. I got all
What
the guys
chassis?
hooked on drifting finally.
Yeah, which chassis is that one?
Super Drift 2.0.
Okay.
A little bit older chassis, but I've had it for a while. And it's
Man,
purple.
next time we get up to Northern California to go see family, I'll have to hit you up. Maybe I can meet you guys out at a drift night one night and go do some RC drifting with you guys.
Oh, we're all horrible at it. I'm not.
Perfect.
So, yeah,
Perfect. We're all going to fit right in.
But yeah, whether we're doing it at the shop or Rolling Garage here, we were actually there last Friday. We shut the place down. That was a lot of fun.
Cool.
All right, so 80, hold on, Connor. 8:05. I'm gonna send you the giveaway real quick. Oh shit, where is it?
Uh-oh.
Oh, I love Brandon comments. I approve.
While he's bringing that up real quick, I want to get your opinion on leaf spring rigs. I know Josh hates them, but that doesn't matter. What do you think about production leaf spring rigs? Like as an RTR or a kit, do you think leaf springs would be able to hold up well enough for it to not be a big customer support issue?
So we kind of, what were we talking about? We touched on Customers not understanding certain features, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to understand that it's not a performance upgrade. I'm not our audience, not those of us who are watching now. Just like a new guy buying his first crawler, walking into the shop. If it has the right body on it or the right wheels and tires, and he doesn't realize that the leaf springs are actually going to hurt him.
Yeah.
It's not always the best first impression for those customers. So finding a way to make that work, I'm all about it, but we have to make it work.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd rather hand somebody an RTR Phoenix and let them have the greatest time and not have any issues.
But do you think leaf springs could be reliable enough on an RTR or a kit to where they wouldn't be breaking and it'd be a big issue?
It would take a lot of work.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you guys have driven leaf spring rigs. I've driven them all. If you drive it and you appreciate it for what it is, it'll last forever.
Yeah.
But if you drive it like it's an RTR, it's a different story.
Yep.
100%.
So, and how do you put that disclaimer on it?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So, all right, I'm gonna 8:07. It's been 2 minutes past. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the draw button. We got 59 entries, so here we go. This is for the
Everybody's pro leaf springs. I love it.
Half Hawaiian.
There you
go. Congratulations, buddy.
Did he win before? Okay.
No, he hasn't won yet, but he's tuned in every week for the past couple
right.
weeks,
Okay.
as far as I can remember.
There we go. That's a good one to win.
Congratulations, Half Hawaiian. That's awesome. So go ahead and shoot us or email at rockpartsrc@gmail.com, and then I'll get with Connor, and Connor will get with the chain deal. I'll get with Connor will get with Brandon, and then we'll go ahead and
yes,
get all that sent over.
Yep.
Yeah, I could. I'll ship it right to him, or I could ship it to you guys first. Whatever.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, we'll probably just get his address, and I'll give you his address, and you can just send it right to him.
No problem.
Yeah. Send us an email, Half Hawaiian, and then we'll get all that over to you.
Yeah, that'll make for a fun build.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks again for donating that, Brandon. That's really cool.
Oh, my pleasure. You guys, that'll fit the VFD twin, right? The skid plate holes, either trans, no problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
we'll bolt right up.
But
we never got to mail call or none of that stuff. We got consumed doing so.
That's not my fault. I promise.
We're pirates. We don't have a plan. We just kind of wing it.
I think in the first 5 minutes, you guys asked me for the story, so that was your own.
Good thing we started early. That worked out.
Awesome. We told Connor, we're like, me and the captain don't know Brandon the way that Connor does. So we're like, yeah, Connor, you're part of the itinerary for this week, so you're the one that asked all the questions. So this was
I don't know Brandon super well. I just talked to him more than you guys talked to him, and I know his past with Axial and everything, and what he does.
He's like, hey, when are those parts coming back in stock, or how do I order my Origin through Verizon? I'm like,
I'm trying to get an Origin through you guys, and I can't even do that.
So I have number, I believe it's serial number 2, and it's all raw because it was the first prototype I built. I kind of donated that one back to the office, so it went into our archive. So I don't even have an Origin, but it's in the works. Josh showed off my panels a couple weeks ago because they came back, and then he dropped one on the table during the live feed. That was funny.
I heard about that.
Yep. But so my Origin will be polished black body panels, which looks
nice.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It goes with the black on black Ripper. I think my Ripper's number 45.
Okay.
That one too. I started right when the Ripper was coming off the machines, and they put me in charge of right when I started Vanquish. Hey, you need to do instructions for this. I'm like, what? It's the worst possible project.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you guys doing Origin releases pretty much bi-weekly now? Is that what y'all are doing?
So we have a new process. As the parts come off the machine and they're completely prepped to go to anodizing, they go on a shelf. If there's X amount of them on the shelf, when Jim walks by, he'll see them. He'll go on the site and add that quantity. It could be every day now as they roll off the machines and get prepped. It could be twice a week. We're not doing one like large batches anymore. We want to do exactly what's prepped. So as soon as the order comes in with the colors the customer selected, the next day or that same day, it can go right out to anodizing.
Gotcha.
Oh, wow.
Anodizing still an unknown sometimes with colors, or we got one back today that had a blemish, so we have to resend it. And that's just it has, at that price point, it has to be perfect.
I see now that there's an option that says name for certificate of origin. What is that?
Yeah, so we actually we have basically like DMV registration paperwork that matches the serial number, and it actually has like a holographic, like it is a legit like what you would get from, I think Koenigsegg uses the same exact piece of paper that we're using, or somebody like that, some exotic brand, because we reached out to this company, they're like, oh yeah, all these brands use the same one that you're ordering. So it basically has the original owner's name, address, the serial number of the chassis, if it's 110 or whatever. And then on the back, it has where you could sign the title over to the next owner and stuff like that.
That's
pretty cool. Yeah, Josh is every day he's like, he does a test print to make sure it's all right, because we only have one for each serial number. It's not like we have duplicates of them. So he makes sure it's perfect, and then it goes in the box with each origin.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, if I can catch one on the website one of these days here soon, I definitely would like to snag one. They're pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Are you think I'm joking? I'm not joking.
You're gonna get in trouble. Yeah.
It's money. You can replace it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh shit. So, all right, guys. Well, we're approaching 8:15. I gotta get out of here because I gotta go pick up the carburetor for my Jeep. So,
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, thanks, Brandon. I'd say we're probably start doing our wrap up. Thanks, Brandon, for just tuning in with us tonight. Really appreciate you taking time out of your day away from your family to come out here to chat with all of us here at Rock Pirates RC, and just thanks for everything you guys do over there at Vanquish Products, and especially thanks for the giveaway tonight. So we really appreciate
anytime, guys. We appreciate your support of our products too. It was rad working with you guys on the VRD, kind of sharing that chassis profile early, and I know you jumped right on it. So aftermarket is what makes this hobby. So we appreciate it
for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. So, just real quick. Also, I just want to say thanks everybody in the private chat that hang out with us tonight and participated. It's great to see you all again. And Brandon, thanks a bunch. Really appreciate you. And and Vanquish, you guys are killing it. Great products all the time. And so thank you.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Cool. Right on. Well, yep. Thanks again, Brandon. Thanks for throwing that raffle in, and thanks for everything you've done in the RC crawling industry, RC industry in general, man. There's a lot of stuff out there. People don't know that you even developed it. Also, it's cool to get these people's some history behind a lot of these cars that are out there. So
yeah, man. I just stay busy. I keep my head down. I love it. So
yeah, that's right.
Got a long ways to go. A lot more cars to come. So we appreciate it.
Awesome.
And congrats, Half Hawaiian. I'll get that out to you as soon as I can.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks, guys, and thanks again for tuning in this weekend. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. So
cool. See you guys.